Hello.
Hello. Hi.
How's it going?
Hey, you didn't wait for me to say hi.
Yeah, that's pretty rude.
I'm really offended.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Jeez. Spoiled little babies on the podcast today.
I deserve respect and recognition.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 22 of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them. The only podcast on the internet where we watch a movie and then we talk about it.
The only one.
Yep.
There might be other podcasts where other people watch movies and then talk about them, but this is not that podcast.
No, this is our podcast.
It's true. I am Andrew Westonsco. I am the host of this here podcast. I am joined, as always, at my right hand by Becca.
That's me.
And at my left hand, restoring order to all things by Sid.
Hello.
Did I wait long enough that time?
Yes. Was
Okay.
perfect.
Hey, Sid, when was the last time you thought about American Idol?
4 years.
4 years, folks.
Quick answer.
Yeah. I just got a good memory.
2015, Sid thought about American Idol at some point.
It was this day exactly.
This day, 4 years ago, Sid
January
thought about American
19th,
Idol.
2015.
You have to check the calendar. You don't even know what today is.
I don't know what today is.
Jeez,
Today is January
It's
19th.
Saturday.
Well, yeah, she checked the calendar and it was correct.
Oh.
It's Saturday. I'm not supposed to know what day it is.
Disappointing. Today, on this episode of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them, we will be discussing Adam McCay's The Big Short. And it's going to get spicy.
Real spicy.
Because as soon as I start talking about this stuff, I get real pissed off.
And when he gets pissed off, he doesn't really stop talking. So,
Buckle in,
So
folks.
me and Becker are just going to take it easy and enjoy the ride.
Buckle in, folks. Here we
Yep.
go. It's time for me to be
Woohoo.
real angry. I guess we'll try and not get too political. I don't know. It's kind of hard not to with this kind of stuff. But we'll do our best. We don't
Okay.
want to offend anyone's delicate sensibilities.
all right.
I guess so.
I'm just kidding. I don't care if you're offended.
Yeah, you don't have to listen.
Yeah. If
You're
you're offended, don't listen. But if you have
But do listen, actually.
If you have some people who are more like-minded, recommend our podcast to them.
Send them our way. We'll take them in.
The Big Short was released in 2015. It stars Ryan Gosling, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Brad Pitt, and a bunch of people I don't know who they are. It was written by Adam McCay, written and directed by Adam McCay, the famed director and writer of such cinematic masterpieces as Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, The Other Guys, and Anchorman.
But not Anchorman 2.
No, thank goodness. So quite the resume for Mr. Adam McCay.
He did direct that one.
Oh, he did direct Anchorman 2?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just saying it is not a masterpiece.
That's a misstep right there. You've got better films, Adam will say that, than Anchorman 2. This is one of them. This movie, 4 years old at this point. We are firmly in the territory where we will be doing full spoilers, although if you live in America, there will be no spoilers because you know what happened. So there's not a whole ton to spoil here. This is a movie detailing the events leading up to the crash of the housing market and subsequently the world economy in 2008. It's one of the most infuriating movies I've ever seen. And I think this is my 4th or 5th time watching it. And I just get angrier every time. But we will get into that as we get into that, right?
Right.
So let's dive right in. For anybody who knows how the podcast works, we start out with some hot takes. Now, a hot take is just a quick summary of your opinion. As soon as I said hot takes, Becca leaned in because she knew that I was going to make her go first. But then I explained what a hot take is. So she looked like a fool.
If only everyone could see it.
It's fine.
Jeez. I wasn't going to let you get away with that.
It's fine.
All right. Becca, what's your hot take on The Big Short?
My hot take. Well, this is my second time seeing it. The first time I was really confused, but enjoyed it. and the second time I was less confused and very much enjoyed it. I love, like, I mean, it's similar to Vice because it's by the same director.
Yeah, and I think, sorry, not to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, okay.
I think that we'll probably end up, for those of you, sorry, just to give everybody a forewarning, we're probably going to end up discussing Vice as well, because very similar styles, the same director, same writer, and all that kind of thing. So if you haven't seen Vice, this isn't directly talking about Vice, but same thing. There's no spoilers in Vice. So. Like, if you're American, you know what happened. So just forewarned, you will probably enjoy the discussion more if you've seen Vice.
Yes.
Continue.
Anyway, this is about a lot of confusing things that I never thought to learn about, but The Big Short presents it in a way that is entertaining and that I can understand with some further explanation from Andrew throughout the movie.
I mean, how old were you in 2008? 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think you're excused for not following global economics at the age of 12.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on then. So now I know now. But this movie does a really good job of explaining it while also being very entertaining.
All right.
So I really enjoyed it.
Sid.
All right, so this is my first time seeing it. Like Becca said, it's very confusing. I had almost no idea what was going on throughout it, and even after Andrew gave an extensive explanation on it, I was still very confused.
You make me sound like a prick.
No, not like he was mansplaining it to me. It was very helpful, but my brain couldn't quite comprehend it yet. But they present it in such an interesting, entertaining way that even if you don't really know what's going on, you're still enjoying what they put on the screen. And it works with so many different factors, with just the storyline, the script, the breaking of the fourth wall, the actors, everything just works really well as a movie. And I'm not entirely sure if it works financially because I didn't understand what was going on. But that's my hot take.
My hot take. This is my fourth or fifth time seeing it. The first time I watched it with my dad, who works in banking. And this is a 2-hour and 10-minute movie, and it took us about 3.5 hours to watch it because he would pause it every 10 or 15 minutes and explain something to us. And it was very helpful, and it really helped me enjoy the movie the first time that I saw it. Every time watching it since, I have been, as Becca said, a little bit less confused and a little bit more angry at how everything went down, because it's just a bunch of people being dicks.
And all the good people getting screwed over.
That's correct. Well, the people who, not even good people, like people who aren't even involved.
Yeah.
Like, just random people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, I have a retirement account. Oh, no, you don't. Why? Oh, because we decided to gamble all of your money. Well, why did you do that? Because we suck. Oh, are you going to go to jail? No, we're not going to go to jail. We're just going to get a lot richer.
Makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you get it?
Only in America, baby. Holy crap. On the bright side, though, I like this movie quite a bit. I think it's very well made. I think that rewatching this after seeing Vice, I forget how refreshing this style was in 2015. Whereas in going into Vice, you knew what to expect. Watching The Big Short, nobody knew what to expect. I think we could assume that it would be funny because of Adam McCay. But this is actually one of the more depressing movies that I've ever seen, I think. Because you think about something that you go back in time and look at something like Dancer in the Dark, right? Horribly depressing film.
Yeah.
But like, it's a story of fiction. Like, this is depressing because it actually happened.
Yeah. And like the outcome is incredibly depressing for so many people.
And like happened in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And just is just horrendous. Just like completely unconscionable what happened on so many levels from so many, like, oh my gosh. I'm not even talking about the movie anymore. But I think this is, I guess my hot take is this is the biggest strength of the movie, is that it takes this concept and these series of events which are insanely complicated and only get more and more complicated as it goes. And even if you don't understand everything watching it the first time, you get the ending. The ending has its impact. That even if you didn't fully understand it, and Ryan Gosling towards the beginning even says that. He's like, does that sound boring? Good, because it's supposed to. He says, like, people on Wall Street love to use big words so that they can pretend they're smarter than you, kind of a thing. And so it's, I mean, the whole thing is meant to be boring and impossible to understand and all that crap. And it really is, but then you get the ending. You get like, oh, at the end, it's like, oh, these people did horrible things and it affected a lot of people in horrible ways. And you get that even if you don't understand all the events.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it makes its impact without having to know what the actual semantics of everything was.
Yeah. And like I said, it's easy to forget how fresh this style of filmmaking was when this movie came out. It's kind of this halfway point between documentary and drama, where it uses real people, but it's not a biopic, and it like tells a real story, but and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking and narrating, and they even have not experts, but people come in and explain things to you and that kind of thing. So it's this weird drama documentary hybrid that I think works really well. And as I think about it compared to Vice and why I think The Big Short works better. And I think that it's because The Big Short, I think they have similar goals as films, which is to take really complicated situations and kind of distill them down to their essence and help you understand them. But The Big Short doesn't suffer from all of the pitfalls that every single biopic in the world suffers from, which is the second you walk into that movie theater, your main character is under scrutiny, right? You're looking for how well they're portraying the person that they're supposed to be portraying. Whereas in this one, you get to know the characters and follow them, and they there's not a lot of character arc, but like you get to know them as you go, and I think that really works in this movie's favor. I guess my point of all this being that this is, I think, a super inventive style. And looking at this compared to Vice, I would like to see Adam McCay in the future go more in this direction, telling stories that are important for us to understand in a way that we can understand, but using maybe people that we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, going into Vice, you have a bias on whether you like Dick Cheney or not, and that's going to skew how much you like the movie. With this one, I mean, yeah, it's telling about real people, but no one knows who they are. No one knows their political standings. So this is kind of more of an objective look at just the overall recession.
Yeah.
And the mortgage bubble and all that. So it's easier to just enjoy it as a film rather than a political statement.
Yeah. What were your guys' I guess favorite aspects of the filmmaking? And we'll see, this was nominated for several Academy Awards, and I'm curious if your tastes match the Academy. What impressed you guys?
Well, I mean, I looked at what it was nominated for, but
you cheater.
I'm
you
sorry.
Dirty
Okay,
cheater.
I would have said it anyway, but the editing is so good.
I wonder if
Wait,
the same
was it
person
nominated?
It was nominated for
Okay,
editing.
that's
I
what I
wonder
thought.
if the same person edited this as edited Vice.
Let me check.
I don't know, because they're both walking out of Vice. That was the one thing I said to Becca. I was like, the editing in this is spectacular.
Yeah, because in a lot of movies, it's hard afterwards. It's hard to say if the editing was good or not because they kind of try and make it so you don't notice the editing. But this one it's changing constantly, and it's moving, but it's not distracting. It enhances the storyline more.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was reading on Reddit.
It is the same editor. Also, same editor as Tree of Life.
Shut your mouth.
No. I'm supposed to keep my mouth open for a podcast.
That's fair. Please don't shut your mouth. Yeah, it's interesting reading on Reddit. It's pretty, I guess, it's a dividing line in the community as far as people who think that the editing in these movies is brilliant and people that hate it. It's very stylized, and that's a weird word to use to describe editing, but it's very, very, very stylish and in your face, and especially those kind of montage sequences moving between the different acts of the film. And they've got music videos, and they've got shots of people, and just like all these, I don't know, it just does such a good job of getting you, I don't know, it does such a good job of assisting the tone of the film, and the editing is entirely to thank for those kind of sequences.
Yeah, and I think for me, like I'm still trying to understand what editing is, but this is a really good movie to understand that, because like Sid said, I feel like the editing is really obvious and easy to tell that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree. I think it's really, really effective.
I also think the performances pretty much across the board are very good.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't say there's really anyone who's bad. Like, even the smaller characters.
Yeah. This is my favorite Steve Carell role, personally. I haven't seen Foxcatcher, though, and he was nominated for that, so apparently that's really good. But I think he does very well as an angry New Yorker.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling, just like oozing charisma.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is Ryan Gosling, so.
Sure, but you look at this performance and compare it to something like Drive or Blade Runner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude's got a lot of range.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Doesn't.
Well, and I mean, I'm just to list everybody that was in this film, but Christian Bale's acting was so good.
We
as
have
well.
a ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
He was nominated for supporting actor.
Ooh. All right.
But I kind of feel like, was there a lead actor? I mean, you could say Steve Carell, but.
I think because, I don't know. I think Ryan Gosling has top billing, but I don't know.
I would kind of say they're all like supporting actors.
Yeah.
I don't know who you'd nominate for lead.
But no, Christian Bale is so good in this.
Well, and also just thinking about this compared to Vice, like Christian Bale in both of them.
He's just a great actor.
Like such different performances, but both so amazing. And like, yeah, just able to capture the character and engage the audience really well.
Yeah. What else? The dialogue is great in this. The screenplay, very good. And it won adapted screenplay. Because this was adapted from a book.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I love a lot of the dialogue. I don't know. It's just so, it seems so genuine. Like they're all such dicks to each other.
Just anytime it was Steve Carell and his whole team, and they're all just throwing out F-bombs and they're just like saying insults to each other. It's so, I don't know. It's just fun to watch and to like see their interactions. And it's when they start getting into the actual financials of everything, it's hard to follow, but it's still interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And kind of try and take in.
No, it's definitely the kind of movie that benefits from like a pause every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And like go around the room and be like, okay, what do we have here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets really confusing really fast.
Yeah.
And then just more and more confusing.
But again, like I said, that's the whole point. It's supposed to confuse you.
Yeah.
And that's just what makes me...
Well, yeah, that's like why it all happened. I feel like it's confusing and everybody just overlooked it.
Everybody who had the opportunity to.
Yeah.
If you... I guess we can get into talking about the actual events. Here we go.
No.
Everybody who had the opportunity to do anything about it never did. And that's what led to it happening in the first place, right? Was like the banks refused to accurately value their CDOs. The ratings agencies refused to accurately rate the loans. The SEC completely refused to investigate anybody. And then the whole thing collapses. The freaking big banks get bailed out and nobody goes to jail. Freaking Christian Bale character said he gets audited 4 times and investigated by the FBI just because he's able to like read the signs.
It's so crazy.
And then, you know, what did it say? $5 trillion lost.
Sheesh.
How do you even like imagine that much money?
I can't even comprehend just more than 1,000.
I know, like the entire movie they're talking about millions and billions of dollars, and I'm like, I don't know, $100?
I haven't checked my bank account in 2 weeks. Who knows what's in
on
there?
purpose, like because I'm scared.
Yeah, like I can't comprehend that much money.
That's what I'm saying. $5 trillion lost.
Oh my gosh.
Just vanished into the ether. 5 trillion.
Oh my gosh.
That's what, like a third of our national debt?
Yeah.
Just gone.
That's crazy.
And it's infuriating. And then the government turns around and bails them out. Says, no, you guys are too big to fail. Like those guys, the two dudes from Colorado, they're totally right. Like when they're talking and they're like, no, this is the end of capitalism. It should have been the end of capitalism. Like this was the entire system hitting the reset button. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we screwed up this system, made it real bad, made it totally non-functional, removed almost all elements of capitalism from it because there's no competition, there's no any sort of accountability because the customer isn't able to hold companies accountable, the government isn't holding anybody accountable. It's not capitalism anymore, it's an oligarchy, right? And then the whole system hits reset. The entire thing collapses. And yeah, it's a real bad few years, but you come out the other end looking better. But the government was like, nope, too big to fail. Too big to fail. What does that mean? How is that a thing? How is any company too big to fail? The whole point of capitalism is that you can fail. And it's like Steve Carell said at the end, right? He's like, no, they knew they would be bailed out. They weren't stupid. They didn't care. $5 trillion.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
And I guess that's the point of this movie and why it was important for this movie to be made is like people don't understand, right? What happened and how they got screwed and who screwed them. And that's what this movie really explains is who screwed you and how you got screwed. And the answer is everybody and in every way.
Yeah, I do feel like this is an important story to know for Americans.
Well, it's a cautionary tale, and we see it happening again. Like the housing market right now continues to rise in so many places, like especially here in Utah. You know what I mean? Home prices keep going up. I have so many friends who have cleared $100K plus on their houses. They buy their house and sell it less than 5 years later for $100K return. But wages are stagnant, right? So it's like, I think it was Steve Carell that said it in this movie. When that happens, when home prices rise and wages are stagnant, or no, it was Christian Bale, sorry. So when home prices rise and wages are stagnant, those homes are debt, not assets. And a home is supposed to be an asset, right? Mm-hmm. And even at the end of the movie, they say they're selling these new things, which are basically just CDOs and a dress. And like the whole thing is going to happen again because we don't care. Or maybe we do care. But again, the people who have an opportunity to do anything about it are not doing anything about it. And like now, I mean, there were some regulations put in place, but now a lot of it's been repealed. And like they're just going to be allowed to do whatever they want again. They're going to screw everybody again. And I'm going to lose my 401k.
Well, I think to bring it back to the film, but also comment on that. I think the scenes that like drove it home the most to me that like this really happened and really affected people was when they went down to Florida to like go look at a neighborhood and find out if these people are paying their mortgages, and it's just like an empty neighborhood and no one is there, and the one guy that is there is renting, and he's like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, you know, like I'm paying my landlord every month, but if he's not paying it, like I'm still gonna be screwed. And I feel like that scene specifically like resonates and makes it like, oh, that is anybody. That's your everyday person just trying to make it that got completely screwed by all of this.
Well, and in that vein as well, like you think about it, like I guess if you take a step back and think about it, like his landlord bought that house as an investment property, which is another thing that was a huge issue, is just these properties being bought up as investment properties left and right by people who have way too much money, and then
Which is also happening now.
That's what I'm saying. This is happening again right now. We see a lot of the same things that happened in 2005, 6, 7 happening right now, and it's freaking terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, we pay rent. Like,
yeah, somebody owns our house. You know what I mean? And we pay rent. Like, what if I don't know our landlord. We go through a property management company. You know what I mean? Like, what if our landlord just stops paying his mortgage?
We'd be out.
Or her mortgage. I'm not trying to build any glass ceilings here. I don't know. It's just it's crazy and it's infuriating and it's incredibly sad.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I think those scenes were the ones that really struck home for me, that like this seriously affected so many people. And yeah, that this movie, it wasn't just about like all the money being traded back and forth and how to understand finances and everything, but like it was about just a total collapse.
Well, and now that you mentioned that, there are a lot of scenes, I think, that reinforce the human factor in all of this. There's the scene, I guess Brad Pitt says it several times.
Yeah.
He tells them, this is what I hate about banking. It reduces people to numbers. And then he also says, you know, why are you guys dancing? Like, people lose jobs, people lose pensions, people lose retirement funds. Like, if you guys make a lot of money, a lot of people get screwed. And even at the end, I think Christian Bale's letter to his investors at the end is one of the more prescient things said in the movie. And it's just in regards to, I guess, you know, unbridled greed in general, which is a unfortunate, I guess, quality of capitalism. Is just, I mean, unbridled greed is encouraged and needed for the system to function, right? He says, making money isn't what I thought it was going to be because it removes all elements of your life that are not business. And like it basically takes humanity out of life. Kind of a restating of Brad Pitt saying that it reduces everybody to numbers. But I thought that was an interesting way to put it, that making money isn't what he thought it was because it took every other aspect of his life away.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, kind of more along the lines with what Becca was saying. This movie, I mean, as you're following the bankers, the people who are trying to profit off of this, you know, you're kind of rooting for them to get that money. But then Brad Pitt comes in and says, people are going to lose jobs, people are going to lose their houses. You know, it kind of reminds you that these characters that we're following are not necessarily the good guys, and they're kind of the part of the driving force that made it so thousands, millions of people were affected by this.
Well, and that's what kind of hits Steve Carell towards the end, right? And he even, when Vinny calls him at the end and says, we got to sell. Mm-hmm. And Mark's like, no, we can't sell because then we're like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like he saw this. It was like, you know, Ryan Gosling came to them and gave them this opportunity to make a lot of money. And Steve Carell sees it and is like, absolutely, I can stick it to these big banks that I hate so much. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, he realizes who's being left holding the bill. And it's not fun anymore. And it's such a hopeless ending because you realize that these big, huge executives, no matter the situation, no matter what happens, they, like, their privilege will just keep them from ever be like holding the bill for anything that they do wrong. Like you said, they took the bailouts from the government, used it to pay themselves huge bonuses and lobby against big business reform. But then, you know, hundreds of thousands of people lost their jobs. Just crazy.
Yeah. This is a real downer.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of the more depressing movies I've ever seen because it actually happened. And, like, we're still seeing effects of it. Because it's, I mean, every time there's a bailout, it's just a message to these corporations. Like, all you need to do is get big enough so the government determines it so that you can't fail. I mean, GM went under. The government bailed them out. You know what I mean? Like, if you get deemed a pillar of the American economy, you'll never fail no matter what you do. That's effed up.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's anti-capitalist is what it is.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And I mean, I'm no lover of capitalism. Let's be real. But if you're going to decide on a capitalist system, at least uphold it as such. At least follow the basic guidelines of capitalism. Oh, man. It's horribly depressing.
Yeah. I don't feel very good right now.
You don't feel so good, Mr. Stark?
No.
But I guess that's the point, is that this movie manages to get these conversations started between people, right? And it couldn't do that if it wasn't so well made. And I think it really is. Here's the thing. Like, you can say that Anchorman and the other guys and all that kind of stuff are substanceless and they're just funny, and that's probably true. But you never really think about it. They're well-made movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're good.
It's interesting to see that skill set transfer over to something a little more, I guess, that takes itself a little more seriously here.
Mm-hmm.
But also that sense of humor that he has is so present here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny movie.
Yeah.
Especially Ryan Gosling's character. Like, dude is just such an apologetic douchebag.
Well, and that's such a good way to get a lot of people to care, I think.
Mhm.
Like, because it's funny and entertaining and interesting and gets people who don't know anything about this event to know and understand it.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is super valuable.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like a political drama or like a financial drama like this, it's hard to get people to care about it unless it's something entertaining like this, or it like has a good strong message that resonate with people. And this one definitely did very well with it's entertaining. So people are going to be more willing to sit through 2 hours of this rather than 2 hours of a boring drama.
Well, what do they say in Vice? Like, people don't want to spend their free time being depressed by the news.
Yeah.
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 I think that, were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, like, this movie is so honest that that's exactly what it is. Like, right in the very beginning, Ryan Gosling is like, I know this is boring, so here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath.
Yeah.
She'll explain it to you.
Thank heavens for Margot Robbie in a bubble bath. Man. What a woman.
But, like, that just is so, especially to have her be the first celebrity or whatever
Yeah.
to start explaining what happened in a bubble bath is just, like, such a good way to be like, come on, you guys, you're going to watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of throws you off, but also at the same time, you're like, oh, Margot Robbie. I can get with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can listen to Margot Robbie talk all day. Especially in a bubble bath. Good for her, man. Go watch her in I, Tonya. She's excellent.
She's so good in that.
Yes.
She's also excellent in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm.
But
She's also excellent in Suicide Squad.
what are we, some sort of Suicide Squad?
I hate that movie.
I never saw it.
Ugh, it's so bad. I've watched so many
Do you
YouTube
mean
videos.
Oscar-winning film Suicide
Oh
Squad?
my gosh! Please don't remind me of that.
It won Razzies and Oscars. One of the few films to do so. What did it win? Costume design or something?
Makeup and
Well,
hair.
Margot Robbie does look all right in that.
Okay,
It's hard to make her look bad.
yeah,
true.
which is why they shouldn't have won. Like, she's doing half the work there.
I think one of the other things that, again, jumping back to how depressing the film is, but also that the film does so well, is kind of that creeping sense of dread throughout the second half of the movie. Because the first half, it's all kind of exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys are all like, we're going to short the housing market. We're going to make so much money. This is so awesome. We're going to be rich. And then, like, once they start to realize what is allowing them to make so much money off of it, and that's that the system is entirely fraudulent and broken and criminal, there's that creeping sense of dread as each layer is peeled back, right? It's like there's that scene where Christian Bale is leaving his firm, and the guy is like, or you're wrong. And he's like, the system, he's like, I think it's time to consider the possibility that we are living in an entirely fraudulent system. Like, it just never occurred to them. And I think that that's kind of something that people in general do. And I don't know, it's probably not unique to Americans, but Americans do it. Like, we trust the system, right? We think, oh, the system won't allow X to happen. It won't allow the economy to collapse. The system is built to prevent that, right? But then and even these people, they think that, you know what I mean? Like there's that scene with Ryan Gosling in the conference room at Steve Carell's hedge fund. And he's like, you guys call yourselves cynics, but you still have some faith in the system. Like, what's wrong with you? Like even the harshest of cynics were like, nah, like the SEC will fix this, or the rating boards will fix this, or whatever. But like, there's that creeping sense of dread that every time they get a new revelation, they're in the ratings office, and Steve Carell's losing his mind, right? And then he goes and talks to the CDO manager and just like loses his mind. They go to the securities conference, and Steve Carell, he just loses his mind at all these different turns of like, how is this even possibly happening? Like, I had to pause it to explain something, and the best way I could think to explain it is like everything was happening in backwards land because nothing was happening as it should, because just everybody was lying constantly. It was an entirely fraudulent and criminal system. And I think that the movie does such a good job at showing you the disillusionment in these people who actually knew what was going on.
And again, it's just terrifying that that's real. It's not like this is what would happen if we were living in a fraudulent system. It's like this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And even the two dudes from Colorado go to talk to the guy at Washington Post or whatever it was. And he's like, I'm not going to burn my bridges. Like, I'm not going to report on this. And he's like, they're like, there's so much criminality. Like, this is what you do. And then Christian Bale calls the government afterwards and is like, hey, you guys want me to tell you how I knew this would happen? And they're like, nah, we're good. What on earth?
Just like brush it all under the rug after it all happened.
Oh, man.
Mm.
And as far as accuracy goes, as far as I understand it, the film is fairly accurate to how things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if it wasn't, they
would say something about it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they do a good job at telling you when things didn't happen like they...
Yeah.
Well, and I love that they would even be like, this really happened. Like Ryan Gosling was like,
Yeah.
he actually got a phone call and asked this question and left in the middle of this. Like,
They actually got the biggest tip. They got the tip for the biggest move of their life off of a wrong number.
Yeah.
And the other guys are in the JP Morgan Chase lobby, and they turn around and they're like, this didn't actually happen, but it's easier to say it this way. Like, I don't know, man. It's I mean, like, as far as themes and stuff go, it's hard to talk about because it's just, like I said, it straddles the line between documentary and drama in a really effective way. Mm-hmm. And I think the point of this movie isn't to, you know, I guess be a dissection of humanity or morality or whatever. It's like, this is what happened and everything sucks because of it. Talk about it.
yes. Which is great from a movie. Like, I think some of the best movies I've watched, and like all of the movies that I think are perfect movies, are movies that make me think and talk afterward. And I think this is one of those. I don't know if I would consider it a perfect movie, but
I don't think it's a perfect movie,
but it's a movie that causes conversation and thought.
Yeah, just in the same way that I don't know if I've seen a documentary that I would rate a 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think a 10 for me needs to connect a little more emotionally.
Yeah.
Whereas this one just makes me mad.
If you can't tell from all his rants.
Hey, Becca's married to me. She has to deal with this all the time.
Yep.
You guys can turn off this podcast if you want.
I am well equipped to deal with his rants.
Oh, man. What are we doing, guys? What is even happening anymore?
But that's why it's a good movie, is because it touches on so many hard things to talk about.
I mean, it does connect emotionally, but not the emotions that we're used to in a movie. It's like, you know, you watch a ghost story and you feel kind of sad and nostalgic afterwards. You watch this and you're just mad and depressed and stressed. So it's not I would say, you know, it's not a very enjoyable emotion to feel, but it gets its point across.
It does. And I like at the end. This just popped into my head as far as, again, I think it does such a good job of, I guess, showing the individual human cost, right? Because even at the end it throws it up and it's like X amount of people lost their jobs, $5 trillion left. Like, we can't even comprehend what $5 trillion looks like. But each of the, specifically Steve Carell, like, feels it. You know what I mean? And I think that where we've seen how much his character feels and how much of an emotional person he is, seeing him at the end just dejected when he has to sell, like, realizing what it means, I think is really, really, really effective.
Yeah, and even I love that they added the one guy that they actually talked to in Florida that was renting his house.
Like,
they showed him. Yeah, they showed him
Yeah.
at the end with his family, and it was like, yeah, like that's someone that most people could relate to, I think.
I just hope it doesn't happen again. I truly do.
Yeah.
I don't know how it can't, though. It has to at some point. There's always a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a something bubble.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my paranoid conspiracy theory ranting, I think the university bubble will be the next to burst. But that's just me. I already got my degree. What's up, sucker?
Oh, shoot, I better get going
Yeah,
on
you
that.
better graduate.
Oh,
Yep.
crap.
Yikes.
No, it'll be good. If the university bubble bursts, your tuition will go way down.
It's
I already
true.
pay half tuition.
Well, you'll pay even less.
Oh, sweet. All right, I can do that.
You want the bubble to burst.
All right, let's do it. Let's get cracking, guys. Come on.
Yep.
Speed this up.
Well, yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. This is just kind of the movie that at the end you just go, what do we do? You know what I mean? What do we even do about this?
What do we do with this information now? Do I go protest outside of banks? Do I just sit and let it happen? Do I cry? Yes.
I think what you do is to stop trusting the system. I think that's kind of what the... Because again, like, what am I going to do? I guess I could go lobby for big bank reform, but like, I don't have the money for that. You know what I mean? But like, I think overall, as far as what do you do with this information, I think it comes down to a cautionary tale about trusting the system. Because again, like, I have my 401k somewhere, like, and I'm trusting that I'm gonna have that in 50 years. You know what I mean? Who knows what the world looks like in 50 years? What am I thinking? I need to diversify.
What are you thinking?
No, I do. I have. I mean, we've got various investment accounts. I think.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
we're diversified enough. But you know what I mean? Like, don't trust banks. Don't trust the government. Don't trust corporations, because all of them just want to get as much money as possible out of you. That's the whole deal. And then as soon as you cannot give them any more money, then they do not give a crap about you. Corporations don't care about you. The government doesn't care about you. Nobody cares about you except for your family.
And that sucks.
Well, it just is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's just the realization that you have to come to at some point if you want to live in the real world. If you want to live in a fantasy world, I guess have fun. And good for you. If you can pull it off, good on you. But I think that's kind of the message here. It's just, nobody cares about you. And that can be a depressing thought, or it can be a liberating one, I guess.
I don't know which one it is for me yet. I'm
just
feeling depressed.
Stressed out right now.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, as soon as I realize, like, Walmart doesn't care about me, I don't have to care about Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I spend a lot of my time worrying about the financial success of Walmart.
Yeah. But it is, like, kind of liberating. I don't know.
Yeah. Following up on that, one of my favorite scenes is when Steve Carell and his little posse are hanging out in the coffee shop towards the end, and Vinny is trying to convince him to sell, and he's like, "Mark, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients." He's like, "Responsibility? Nobody's acting responsible. F responsibility." I was like, "Yeah, you go, dude. I love you. Like, you are hardcore." I love him. I love his character so much. I want to meet that dude and just high five him, but I think he'd probably swear at me.
And you'd love that too.
Oh, I'd be honored. Oh man, what a great movie though. It really is a great. It was nominated
Yeah.
for Best Picture.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
Let's take a quick look before we move on to ratings and final thoughts and all that kind of stuff. We're just gonna take a quick look at the Oscars for that year and see what it was up against and see how we feel.
I think this was the year that is a very hard year for us to compare. Yeah, this was the year.
yeah, we always talk about it.
Oh, what a year!
Yeah.
This was the year the nominees for Best Picture were Spotlight, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, Room, The Big Short, The Martian, and The Revenant. About half of those you can toss out the window, honestly. Bridge of Spies is fine. Brooklyn is fine. I put The Martian in the fine category.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A lot of people disagree with that. I think it's a lot better than I think it is. But
It's all right.
But The Revenant, Room, Big Short, Mad Max, and Spotlight. What
Yeah.
on earth, people?
Jeez.
How do you decide?
Let's go back to 2016. That was a good
Yeah,
year.
can we have that year? Lead actor was kind of a crapshoot, actually, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best director, though, that's where it gets crazy. Like Iñárritu, Fury Road, Spotlight, The Big Short, and Room. What do you do in that category? How do you not give it to Iñárritu?
Yeah.
Like, that movie's just so immaculate.
Yeah, and you just find out how crazy he was filming that, and you're like, we have to give it to him, or he's gonna kill whoever's in his next movie.
Yeah, I think this was the like safety Oscars. They're like, we're gonna give Leo an Oscar and we're gonna give Iñárritu an Oscar
Because they are going to die.
they're gonna die filming their next film if we don't give them Oscars. But no, Iñárritu did it 2 years in a row because he won for Birdman the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that won Best Picture. So
Yeah.
Iñárritu was on a roll.
Oh yeah.
And we'll talk about this in a minute, but it's looking like Alfonso Cuarón has a real good shot at director this year,
Yeah, yeah.
which would mean that the Mexican Brotherhood
The
can just
trifecta.
keep the best director credits. Keep it rolling, people. Iñárritu, what are you doing next year? Del Toro, you can take a year off, and we need a 3-year rotation here because you guys are the only ones winning best director from here on out.
I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah. What talented individuals, man. All right, we'll move on to that in just a second. We'll do our final thoughts and our rating, and then we'll get on to other topics, which is basically we're going to give our final predictions for the Oscars because the nominations come out on Tuesday, and we'll talk about other movies that we watched. So, Becca, your final thoughts and rating out of 10 for Adam McKay's The Big Short.
Okay. Final thoughts. I love this movie, like I said in the beginning, and I would recommend it to most people. Just beware that there's a lot of swear words.
Oh yeah, if you're not into that, you're not gonna like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a bit of nipple.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little
Yeah.
bit of boobies.
But anyway, I very much enjoyed it and feel like I probably still need to watch it another time or two before I really understand it. So if you do watch
Once
it,
my blood pressure goes down, we can watch it again.
yeah, if you do watch it more than once or watch it with a banker so that they can explain everything to you. But yes, I thought it was very well done and I will rate it 8.9.
Pretty good. Sid?
All right. So I liked this one a lot. I was surprised by how much I liked this one. Normally these kind of movies aren't my jam. But I would say one big thing for me is when I'm kind of like rating a movie is would I want to watch this again? And with this being, more of a political drama, I normally don't want to watch those ones more than once. But I would definitely give this one at least one more go, just based off the movie and how entertaining it was. But yeah, I love this movie. So much of it worked together. And I'm going to give this one a 9.7.
9.7?
Or no, sorry, 8.7.
Jeez.
Sorry.
I was like,
Wow.
we're talking tree of life here. Like, what are you talking about? I also quite enjoy this movie. I liked it. I've liked it every time that I've seen it, which is why I continue to keep watching it. I think I've said my piece about this movie.
Yes, you have.
8.8.
All right.
Rounding us out at an 8.8.
Sweet.
Not bad.
That puts it right in league with Sicario and Birdman.
Seems about right.
I totally forgot. Do we have trivia?
I have a few.
Sid. What?
So one of the conditions for Adam McCay to make this movie is that he had to do the sequel to Anchorman, which...
This was a tit for tat? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Wow.
So, I mean, his sacrifice was our gain. Christian Bale actually wore clothes from the real Michael Burry in the movie.
Of course he did.
And he said that he wanted so bad for Michael Burry to sit next to him at the premiere, so that when he saw it, he quote said, "Because I really wanted to sit next to him and see if he was going to punch me in the effing face." Let's see. And so Margot Robbie, when she was filming her scene, she was actually drinking 20-year-old Dom Perignon champagne. And she said it was kind of hard because she had to remember her lines while she was getting drunk. So that's the trivia.
But she's a true consummate professional.
Yep. She did great.
She also looks like she's going to be great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh my
playing
gosh.
Sharon Tate.
Yeah. That's going to be a good one.
Can't wait to see what Tarantino does with her getting murdered. Because if you know the stories of the Manson family murders, they're pretty gruesome.
Oh, yeah. They're crazy.
They're real bad.
So, and yeah, we'll see how that goes because he's going to be tiptoeing a line there. And
How so?
because it's more the murders are, if he does have the murders in the movie, which I'm pretty sure he does.
How can he not?
I know that they did cast someone as Charles Manson, because it's not a very old murder. I mean, you'd think about Django Unchained, that was 100 years ago. No one's going to be all up in arms about that, but this one is a little bit more sensitive because it's fresher.
I just think about the tone of Tarantino's movies.
Yeah.
And like, can you make the Manson family murders funny?
Yeah.
I don't know, especially because how gruesome they are. They really
Yeah.
like, not for the those with weak stomachs, but seriously, look it up. It's horrible what
It's
they did
really
to these
bad.
people.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just atrocious.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. So
But very, very much looking forward to that movie.
I'm really
I
excited.
think it's gonna be fantastic.
I love movies. I love murder. Let's do it. I don't love the act of
Sid
murder.
loves murder.
I
All right.
do.
Heard it here first.
It's fascinating, okay?
It is fascinating.
Don't
Oh,
get
boy.
mad at me.
Other topics. Let's just do a couple of final roundups. We're looking forward to the Oscar nominations being announced.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Comes out on Tuesday, the 22nd.
Yes.
So by the time this comes out, they'll have been out for like a week and a half.
Uh-huh.
But point being, I'm sticking to my guns. I think Roma's going all the way. I think it's taking everything. I think it's taking cinematography. I think it's taking director. I think it's taking Best Picture.
I would love that so much.
I would love it, especially because no foreign film has won Best Picture.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Not only do I want it to, I think it will happen. I think this is the year.
Well, I feel like there's more hype about it than A Star is Born.
Yeah, there's more hype now that the actual awards are coming out. There's more hype surrounding it.
Give it to my boy. I love Alfonso Cuarón.
He's great. We love him.
And Roma really is just spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if I had seen Roma in a theater, it might have beat out Suspiria for me. But
Yeah.
Suspiria was just such an experience in the theater.
Yeah, I can see that.
P.S. If you missed it, go back and listen to our top 10 movies of 2018, where I talk about why Suspiria is so great, because it is great.
It is.
And we talk about why Roma is so great, because it is.
Because it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think a lot of the hype behind A Star is Born has kind of died off. I think it maybe came out too early.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, that's to say nothing of Hereditary and Annihilation.
Yeah, Annihilation came way too early.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies released too early in the year, High Life. Have you seen the trailer for it?
Oh my gosh.
I refuse to watch the trailer because I do not want to go see it.
Yeah.
A24 produced, highbrow sci-fi art house film starring Robert Pattinson. I'm in.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so in.
I've heard
Yes.
so much about it and how great it is. I mean, I've heard it's weird,
Yeah.
but I am so excited for it.
There was like some people on Reddit that saw it at TIFF, and a lot of polarizing viewpoints, honestly, which I love. Like movies that are like everybody loves this and it's amazing, or like they're gonna be good.
Yeah.
But you get something like Mother or Suspiria, where it just like splits audiences. I'm so ready for that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm refusing to watch the trailer for it because I just
did watch the trailer. I don't want to watch it again, but it's good.
Yep. If I know I'm going to go see it, I don't watch the trailer. I'm going as blind as possible. That's why I wish that I hadn't seen the trailer for Us.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when I'm going to see it.
Oh my gosh. That looks so good.
I'm ready for that.
When does High Life come out?
March, right? Or April?
April 12th.
April 12th. So right around the same time that Annihilation came out in March.
But also, Get Out came out in summer.
That's
Get Out
true.
came out in March, I thought, didn't it?
I'm pretty sure it was summer. Let me check.
I think it came out in March, actually.
Let's see. Oh, February.
25th February, yeah.
Huh?
Crazy.
All right, so let's pray Hereditary, Annihilation. Get some
That's
recognition.
the thing is, A24 is just like, I don't know what they're pushing this year for awards. Why wouldn't it be Hereditary?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I would hope that they. I don't know. I would hope that they did try and push it. I don't know. I just rewatched it, and I'll be mad if they don't.
You watched it again?
Oh yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching it yesterday, and then my roommate came home, and I was like, "Let's change it." She's like, "What are you watching?" A movie. It's too scary for me right now, and then I changed it.
It's just a movie about a bunch of Satanists.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us into our next topic. Becca, have you watched anything? You've just been doing homework.
Mostly homework. But actually, we did watch Room
We did watch Room.
this week, right?
What did you think of Room?
I loved it so much. It was so good. It
I
was
ugly
really
cried.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many emotions
The
while
part-
watching that movie.
Horribly sad.
The part when her dad comes in when she's in the hospital, and she hears him yelling down the hallway. I cry like a baby in that.
And then I think it's even worse when he gets up from the dinner table and leaves, and he's not in the movie anymore. He doesn't come back.
Yeah. So sad.
I don't know. I think the writing in that film is very honest as to how people would react to it, because some people lean in and want to support, and some people just can't handle it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Humans are weird.
I just want an adorable little boy with long hair.
Oh my god. Only you would get baby hungry off of watching Room.
Yeah, you know what you should
I
do?
know.
You should go kidnap a little boy with long hair, just like in the movie.
Keep him in the garden shed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I loved it.
We
It was
also
really
watched
good.
the last 2 hours of Pride and Prejudice.
We did.
I made it. It took me a year to watch that.
It's better than what I
And-
could do.
We finally went and saw Spider-Man.
We went inside to the Spider-Verse.
What'd you think?
Oh my gosh. It was so good.
It's so good.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's
I was
one
so
of the
impressed.
few things that the Golden Globes got right. Is that?
I'll be
shit
so
won.
pissed if Incredibles 2 wins.
I know. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. It's so good. I need to see it again because I can't stop thinking about
I
it.
loved every single second of it.
Just so just the animation, the storyline, everything is so good about it.
Yep.
I love it.
So if you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, if it's still in theaters when this comes out in like a week, please go see it. It's so
Seriously.
good. It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I'll finish this off. I watched The Master.
How was it?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Oh,
It was spectacular.
yeah. Would you say better than There Will Be Blood?
I don't know.
Same vein.
No, I mean, very different movies.
Okay,
Very, very,
yeah,
very
that
different
makes
movies.
sense.
But it's just, I mean, it's after seeing that especially, I'm like, I just gotta go watch every single Paul Thomas Anderson, because the dude is just so in command of his craft. Just the quality of the filmmaking present in the three of his films that I've seen. So There Will Be Blood, The Master, and Phantom Thread. Just the quality and the skill on display is enough to make me just want to go watch all of his movies. It was so outrageously good.
Okay.
And it's one that you end the movie and you're like, huh? And then you start to think about it and things come together. And I think it has some very, very, very interesting themes in it. That you can watch the movie and just kind of be entertained. but when you really start to dig into it, there's a lot of really interesting things going on. I loved it. And again, it just made me want to go watch more Paul Thomas Anderson. So
He's so good.
I think I'm going to do Inherent Vice next.
I hear that's not the best
We're gonna
of
find out.
Office, but yeah, we'll have to see.
Because I think I'll do Inherent Vice and then Punch Drunk Love and then Boogie Nights.
I'm weirdly excited to watch Boogie Nights. I really want to watch it.
Want to see Marky Mark?
There are different reasons for wanting to see it.
You just want to see Marky Mark hang dong.
It's not hurting it. I'm joking.
All right, Sid, hit us. What have you been watching?
I actually haven't watched too much. I mean, I watched half of Hereditary yesterday. And I watched The Mummy, which I still love.
All right, yeah.
That with Brendan Fraser, he's beautiful.
That's great.
Okay, that movie's great. I loved it. And then I started watching the second one. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. What else? I watched Hearts Beat Loud.
I don't know what that is.
I'm pretty sure it was a Sundance. It's got Nick Offerman from Parks and Rec, and it's just like him and his daughter make
Don't
a
you mean
band.
from The Bachelor?
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nick Offerman guested on the last episode of The Bachelor.
Andrew watches that.
Why
with
is
me.
that show still on?
Because
'Cause
America
it's
is
entertaining.
a sick country.
It's true. But yeah, it was a really cute movie. I cried, and it was a fun, feel good movie.
Yeah.
Which it's not usually my
What's it
jam,
called?
but Hearts Beat Loud.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I've been watching Killing Eve, which was up for a lot of nominations for Golden Globes and pretty sure the Emmys. But it's really good. It's got Sandra Oh, and it's about like an assassin. It's pretty good so far. I'm not huge into TV, but I like it. Yeah, I haven't been watching too much.
We are also following the 3rd season of True Detective.
I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
given that a chance. How is it?
The first season is... I am prone to hyperbole, so I want to be careful when I say this. It's probably the best season of TV that I've ever seen.
Okay. I heard the second season is not as good.
Well, it's hard to be as good as the
Yeah.
best season of TV ever made.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. How's Mahershala in the new season?
He's very good.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Love him.
All right. Does that do it for us?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we thank you for sticking around. Let's take a look at what we're doing next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about Drive
Sweet.
from Nicholas Winding Refn. What a great movie. Just to give you I mean, we don't really talk about bad movies on the podcast. Spoiler alert. But yeah, that's what we'll be doing.
Yes.
For all of you who are listening to us, you can find us at facebook.com/wewatchmovies and then talk about them, or Instagram @movieswewatch. Slide into the DMs, comment on a post, let us know what you think. You have a movie you want us to do, we're more than happy to take listener suggestions. And that's it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. I'm Andrew,
I'm Becca.
I'm Sid.
and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.